Good morning, everyone. It's April the 24th, 2024. I'm going to be talking about a little bit, just briefly, about my last video, and because this one is also kind of a takeoff of the other video that I did in the fact of speeding and deaths. And back then, of course, it was a lot of joyriding, and today we have a lot of problems with speeding and definitely distracted driving. So this is something that concerns me a lot about our children, as you can see from the title of this one. So I had kind of the other video leading into this one. And I'm just going to ask my viewers, especially my seniors, how many of you remember going to school like me, and we had school patrols, and they all were helping us cross the street safely? Well, it got to the point where they took the school patrols off because it was no longer safe. And people were starting to speed through the school zones. And so they first tried to stop this by putting up, they've got radar now in the school zones, and everyone's all upset with the radar all over the city, and especially in the school zones as well, which I'm talking about, because for the safety of our children. And so they tried that. There's people are still definitely speeding through the school zones. So they had to take them off. So then they came up with the idea of the crossing guards. And of course, now with the pandemic, we have a shorting of crossing guards. So on the weekend, I was going to the 55 plus lifestyle show that I always go to, being a senior. And I came across a booth that they were actually recruiting crossing guards. So this is one of their advertisings here for it, as you can see, as well as the safety, one of the road safety things that they have for the children as well. So they were handing out these pamphlets as well. And so I got talking to the woman and was getting some details on it. And because of the problem with it now, they need adults, or reasonable adults, because I know they hire from 16 way up into seniors, but they had come to the senior show because they were figured a lot of the seniors who were just retiring could use some extra money. And for about an hour's work, usually about 45 minutes, it pays $19.60 an hour. And if you can do it for 5 days a week, that comes up to $752 a month, which a lot of people can use some extra money. So I got talking to her more, and of course she explained to me just what was required. Again, you have to have a background check. Doesn't necessarily knock you out for a criminal record or something minor, but definitely if it's something to the point where you're around very vulnerable people, yes, then you will not be able to get on. They go through a screening process as well. I believe they pay for the background checks now from the police. I think that's what she said. I'm not 100% sure. But I do know that this is a way of getting some extra money. It's certainly a way of helping to keep our children safe on the roads, because it's getting really, really bad from what I'm seeing. And I'm bringing this up that we need adults as crossing guards to get our children safely back and forth to school. Because I've seen a number of things. Our counselor here, for example, is so bad that she set up a pilot project with the police where they're now, where one school in particular, the police are coming and blocking off the whole street around the school area where they're picking them up, the children up and off the buses. And this is, again, tapping into our police resources, which we shouldn't have to. So I find this a very rough situation right now. So this was hopefully successful. This was done this year. And then children, and last night on the news, for part of the safety council that I'd seen, was they do have safety programs in the school for the children. And one of the things they were doing last night was really interesting. They had a grade 7 class, I believe it was, out on the road, and they had the handheld radars, and they were checking to see how fast the drivers were going through in their school zone, and they were catching a number of speeders, which was just over the speed limit, which was quite amazing, as well as some distracted drivers who were on the phone as well. So they're trying to teach our children the dangers and what's actually going on and how to make sure that they check and make sure they're safely across the street. It's just a horrible thing. I mean, back in my day, parents say, I know my mother said, well, I don't care what the speed limit is. I'm going to go a little below the speed limit where children are crossing, and I want to make sure that I can stop the vehicle and if I have to hit the brakes quite quickly. So a lot of our generation, we really did a nice job of slowing down, as our children are the most precious resort that we have. And it is. They're the most precious thing we have in the world is our children, as they're our past, present, and future. And this is another thing, is how would you feel if you're speeding through a speeding zone and a child just came darting off the sidewalk and you hit and killed that child, for an example, or seriously injured that child? Because it's a parent's nightmare, and it's always been a parent's nightmare, especially when you have children. And anything, if you see a police officer knock on your door, you automatically expect something bad has happened. And this is one of the worst things that police officers have to do when it comes to children. And having been married to one, I get it. Have to go up and notify that the parents that their child has been very badly injured, may not make it, or the child has died in an accident. So if we can do something to prevent that, if we can definitely go out and do our little bit, and normally I don't advertise for jobs, but if we can do our bit and go out there and start helping our children, that would be, because they are the most precious resource that we have in our lives, because they are our past, present, and future, as I said. And I think people are forgetting something, and I picked up a saying, and of course I like sayings, you know me, and this is a saying that I picked up off the internet. The single thing I learned was from an Indigenous elder of Cherokee descent, Stan Rushworth, who reminded me of the difference between a Western settler's mindset of I have rights and an Indigenous mindset of I have obligations. Instead of thinking that I am born with rights, I choose to think that I am born with obligations to serve past, present, and future generations and the planet herself. And I think that's well said, because that's where everything is, as I said, past, present, and future. This is our children. So we really need to band together today and protect our children the best we can. And if anyone is serious about this, and I'm not posting the phone number and that on my channel, but if you are serious, just give me a line, give me a text, and I can text you back with the phone number and the extension. And of course, this is just in Ottawa area only that they're recruiting right now, just to let people know. So again, people, I will say, take care, be safe, and be aware of your surroundings, because you never know what's going to come out, whether it's a child or an animal, and you have to stop suddenly. Okay, so everyone take care, and we'll talk again soon, and bye-bye.